A funny thing happened on the way to creating a more resilient grid in the United States. Rather than promoting technologies that actually do this, like microgrids, the Department of Energy, DOE, is pushing old-style generators that are part of the problem. Brazilian gridEnergy Secretary Rick Perry in September asked the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, to consider a rule that subsidizes baseload generation, nuclear power plants, in the name of making the grid more resilient. In an era of intelligent, fast-reacting distributed energy, elevating slower, dumber resources, largely built before the internet age, is, well, we won't tell you what we think. Instead, let us highlight some comments others recently filed before FERC. Not surprisingly, there was a flood of them. Also take note, no one is rushing to Puerto Rico to build coal or nuclear plants to get the power restored following massive grid destruction from Hurricane Maria. However, several companies are installing microgrids. Tesla already has one up and running at a children's hospital. The Microgrid Resources Coalition, MRC, true, well-maintained and operated baseload plants can contribute to system capacity, says MRC. But capacity and resiliency are not the same thing. MRC defines resiliency as the ability to preserve critical infrastructure and functions for communities and customers, adapt the grid rapidly to disruptions, and promptly restore service that is lost. Baseload coal and nuclear plants make little contribution to resilience. They are large, dangerous to lose, and inflexible, says MRC. Microgrids, on the other hand, are inherently resilient. During an outage, microgrids can island from the grid and serve nearby customers. By way of example, MRC points to Princeton University, whose microgrid kept electricity flowing on the campus during Superstorm Sandy. The college then provided responders with hot meals, hot showers and cell phone charging. Hospitals with microgrids continued to serve patients during the storm, while Nyulangan Medical Center in Midtown Manhattan had to close its doors. It has since installed a microgrid. It is disappointing that DOE has made a regulatory priority of an action that will have limited effect on grid resiliency and will, if implemented as apparently intended, substantially raise customer costs, MRC says in the filing. Indeed, in most instances, the operability of large generation during a transmission outage is of little value until power can be delivered. If such generators do trip off in an outage, they take by far the longest to resume operation. The MRC calls for prudent investments to create a resilient grid, not band-aids on the past.